Wrong camera.
It's Monday. That's Monday. And for those of you that didn't recognize, that's the Great Pumpkin.
Spoiler, you can't see me.
Great Pumpkin. Hi. Amanda is here with me tonight
Great
on
Pumpkin.
St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. It is Monday, October the 28th.
Too much fun at the Halloween party.
Oh, my gosh. The things that you crazy homeschool parents will do and teachers.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, but we got a great show for you. Veterans Day is next. No, 2 Mondays away.
2 Mondays away.
2 Mondays
Yep.
away, but I'm going to be, I'm taking sabbatical next week.
Rude.
I haven't taken one all year.
Your latest sabbatical.
I haven't taken one recently in this year, I guess I should say. But we have an amazing guest for you that's going to explain to everything that's going on in Veterans Day. He's one of our favorite guests here on the Mike Davis Show.
Yeah, we love him.
With producer Amanda. I believe that's what the sign says back
Something
there.
like that.
It does say that. So before we introduce our amazing guest, let's make some money to pay for our amazing guest to be here.
That works.
All right, Salomon Services. It's a premier place for personal training in St. Augustine. They have all types of one-on-one youth and adult personal training classes. They have small group strength and fitness development classes. If you've been injured and you're trying to get better, get back on the field or the court, they can help you do that stronger, faster, quicker, and in great shape. They do all of this in their state-of-the-art center, which has both indoor and outdoor turf areas, and every single one of their coaches is certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Give them a call today. Make an appointment, 904-461-9945, or visit their website, salomonservices.com.
Absolutely. A to Z offers free estimates and has been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years in the construction industry. They offer painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties for up to 25 years. They do shingle roofs with warranties for up to 50 years. They install tile roofing, cedar shake, shingles, designer roofing, and flat roof coverings. Recent job photos with material descriptions can be seen at A2Zroofingandwaterproofing.com. Chuck McCone and his team will make sure your roof is perfect. Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that's been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford has also won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out online today at bozardford.com or head down and have a Jiffy Burger at Ford's Garage.
All right, and my ad is the Moultrie Creek Diner and Anastasia Diner. Great ad read, but I just want to say that I was there this weekend, Sunday. Andy got to go to vacation to visit his family in the northern part of the country. Not going to say where, but the staff was
unknown.
Well, I know where it was, but I just want to say he didn't give me permission. But the staff was amazing. They're so great. I did miss seeing Andy and hearing him talk about how Georgia beat Idol this weekend. But I decided that I would just leave that alone. But yeah, his staff was phenomenal. It really is a great place. It's true when they say that every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see him at Anastasia Diner or Moultrie Creek Diner and tell them Andy sent you. You want a discount, say go dogs. See if you can get that. All right. First Coast Cultural Center has the Global Gastronomy Project Happy Hour. It's 11/1 from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. If you want to RSVP, it is 904-280-0641. They've got a great doctor that's coming from the International Institute of Gastronomy, Culture, Art, and Tourism.
That's awesome.
That is a really cool thing. All
Tim
right.
just dropped that Jimmy Jam tickets. You can save $5 right now on Jimmy Jam tickets. It's got the link in the comments. Get your Jimmy Jam tickets.
Get your Jimmy Jam tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, when is Jimmy Jam? 11th, January 11th at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
You put all that. Tim put that in the comments. Actually,
Tim did.
Tim, that's the first time I've ever read any one of your comments. I'm just kidding, Tim. It's not true. I read them all.
I love you, Tim.
Oh, no. Tim knows I love him. All right. So we have one of my favorite guests. We get to come in, and it's Bill Dudley, retired Colonel Bill Dudley.
Right.
Welcome.
United States Air Force. Now in charge of the Navy League in St. Johns County, and really the go-to Veterans Affairs guy for St. Johns County, all of which he has paid the grand sum of nothing. But he does it out of the kindness and goodness of his heart. I think this is his 3rd or 4th career that he has had in his lifetime. And all the other ones were exemplary, and he's doing the same job here. So, Bill, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Mike, and for having me on again this afternoon. And by the way, we were just talking about Moultrie Diner and Anastasia Diner. Andy also gives veterans a nice discount there as well. So for all you veterans out there, go to Andy and have a nice breakfast or lunch there with at Anastasia Diner or Moultrie Diner.
That's awesome.
Again, thank you for having me on this afternoon. I appreciate it very much.
And Veterans Day is 2 weeks away.
2 weeks.
I was going to be gone. I wanted to have you on before I left. And then you have your schedule's incredibly busy. Does your wife ever know like where you're going to be every day? Do you leave her a list, itinerary, or how do you just tell her, honey, I'm going to work again?
She knows how to get in touch with me. I'm only a phone call away.
Yeah. So what's going on Veterans Day? What's planned for Veterans Day? What events? You guys always have an amazing presentation. So what's the amazing presentation this year?
Mike, we've got another amazing program this year on November the 11th at Anastasia Baptist Church. Again, it starts at 11 o'clock. But this year's program, we have the Sheriff Rob Hardwick is going to be our keynote speaker, and we're delighted to have him there. Our theme this year is the Gulf War, Desert Chill, Desert Storm. And we wanted someone who had actually had boots on the ground experience in Gulf War, and Sheriff Hardwick we couldn't find a better example than Sheriff Hardwick. So he's going to be our keynote speaker. We have another part of our program this year that someone that I have been trying to get here for the last 3 years, a gentleman by the name of Van Morris. He's a retired Navy lieutenant commander. He has performed here a couple of times over at St. Joseph's Academy. I've been on the stage with him there a couple of times as well at St. Joseph's Academy. But Commander Morris is going to be doing Old Glory, and he's added to his repertoire as well. This year he's going to be doing 21 Gun Salute. Mm-hmm. Both of those on the stage at our Veterans Day program this year. And we are just absolutely delighted to have him. A little bit about his background. He does this nationally all over the whole country. Mm-hmm. He is in big demand. I tried to get him last year, and he was already booked in Chicago, so he couldn't come to St. Augustine. But this year, when I reached out to him and said, "Bill, I'm going to come to St. Augustine. Mm-hmm. You know, you've been asking me for 3 years now, and so I'm gonna come and perform at your program this year." So we're just delighted to have him. And in addition to that, he's also under contract with the Tampa Bucks to do their halftime shows.
Oh, cool.
So he's going to be performing at a Tampa Bucks game that Sunday. And then as soon as the game's over, rather, he and his wife are going to jump in the car and come to St. Augustine, be here that evening. Troy has lined up a few hotel rooms for the evening, so he's got us a room for Commander Morris and his wife when they arrive that evening. So we're delighted to have him there. We've got the traveling walls again. That's going to be a part of our program. The Global War on Terrorism wall and the Traveling Vietnam wall will also be back here again and be on display in the atrium area at Anastasia Baptist Church when we have the program there on the 11th. That's always a big draw. A lot of people like to go there and just look at the wall, especially the Vietnam Wall, and find a loved one, a friend, or someone. And it's quite easy to do. The owners of the wall have a computer set up, and all you have to do is give them a name, and they'll tell you what panel it's on. So it makes it easier for someone that has someone that they knew or a family member.
How many years have you been doing this at the Anastasia Baptist Church?
This will be our 5th year at Anastasia Baptist. We used to use the St. Francis Field downtown to do parades and have the junior ROTC kids there. In 2015 and 2016, we did a parade downtown. But that is pretty difficult to do. There's a lot of moving parts to doing a parade, and a lot of effort goes into that. So we decided to do something more stationary, if you will, and we came up with a program at Anastasia Church, and there's not another venue in town that's large enough to do what we do there.
Mm-hmm.
It holds 1,250 people, seats 1,250 people, and then we've got a large area in the atrium area for the displays that we have. We usually have about 40 different organizations that display
Mm-hmm.
on one of the 8-foot tables in the atrium area. And every year we have people calling us. We want a table again this year. You know, we want to be there. We want to participate. We want to have a display. So that's our program for this year. We've got, like I said, we've got a wonderful program set up, and we're just delighted to have the sheriff there as our keynote speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and telling us a little bit about his experiences in Desert Storm and Desert Shield when he was there. So we're absolutely honored to have him back or be a part of this. As you all know, anytime you ask the sheriff to participate in anything in terms of supporting a veteran, he's right there.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, and I've talked to him about some of his time in service, and he had some difficult tours.
He did. It wasn't easy for him. I'm just in hopes he's going to be able to get through that day, talking about his experiences. But I've talked with him about it in times past, and his experiences and his time in uniform and in service. And he had some difficult times. He lost some of his battle buddies as well.
Yeah. And
that's always difficult.
Very tough.
Yeah.
Right. I've not experienced that. I can only, and that's why I always have such a big heart for veterans. You guys put your life on the line for this country. And to me, it's really important that we honor that and that we do everything we can to help our vets when they come back. And they're coming back with a lot of mental stress that they didn't have before or wouldn't talk about before, couldn't express before. And we just need to help them in every way we can.
Well, we've got so many of our veterans here in St. Johns County that have served and served and some of the engagements, some of the wars that we've been in that are suffering from various forms of PTSD, TBIs, you name it. We're so fortunate, and we were talking just before the show started about our veterans clinic here in St. Augustine,
which you fought for how many decades?
11 years. 11 years
Yes.
it took us to get that.
Two decades in my world.
It took a long time, but we are so fortunate to have it here now. And but we see veterans there all the time that are suffering from various forms of PTSD, and so we're fortunate. We've got good mental counseling there for these veterans. And some of our veterans from time to time do run afoul of the law, and we are very fortunate that we've been able to stand up a veterans treatment court here to get those veterans into a treatment program so that they can be treated with the VA, and at the same time meet the demands, if you will, or whatever the justice system has imposed upon them as far as their trials are concerned. So we're very fortunate to have a veteran treatment court now as well.
And you said 108?
We have 108 graduates now out of the program. We celebrated our 100th graduate back in July. And on November the 15th, we've got another graduation coming up. So we'll be graduating 3 more on November the 15th. So we're moving forward with, and I think we have 37 in the program right now as well.
Wow.
So Bobby, our Air Force veteran who's watching, is just asking, does Sheriff Hardwick know there are probably some time constraints? We love Sheriff Hardwick, but he is like one of the best interviews you can do because you just go hello, and then he takes it from there, right? It's like you just kind of kick back, you put your, and he's a very good storyteller. He's very passionate about it. And he gives a great detail when he does a story. So we're kidding with Sheriff Hardwick.
Well, we do have a hook, so we can put the hook on him. I had the same problem of a couple of years ago with Congressman Mike Waltz as well. And if any of you have ever listened to Mike Waltz talk at any program like this, you know that there's no period at the end of the sentence with him. So I did go up and stand beside him for a couple of minutes, and he finally looked over at me and says, "I know, Bill, I'm supposed to sit down now."
Yeah, there's people like that are really good. I've got a really good friend. I'm not going to name any names, but he was on the show last week promoting an event that happened Saturday. But there was a groundbreaking, and they literally had a hook on the side for him as well.
Well, we have that as a standing joke, if you will, in the military. But if once you've reached your limit, we put the hook on them.
Yes.
We pull them off the stage.
Listen, Rob is awesome, and I'm so glad he's going to get an opportunity.
Yeah,
I think it's going to
too.
be great for the audience, and I think it's going to be great for Rob as well.
Yeah,
to be able
I
to
do
talk
too.
about some of this.
And he was so delighted. He immediately responded back to me when I sent him the email and asked him if he would be would he consider being our speaker this year, and he answered immediately back.
See, I'd be the worst speaker at your event because I have no military experience, and all I could say is two words: thank you. And then I just have to get off the stage, right? So that's all I can say is just thank you, and then just leave because I'm just in awe of the sacrifice that the veterans have made for us. So.
And in addition to the others that are going to be a part of the program, we also have our St. Augustine High School chorale group that's going to be singing again for us this year. Providing music, the St. Johns County Chamber Singers, they're known as. And Katie Polk is the new director at St. Augustine High School. This is her first year. Mm-hmm. And she is going to be directing the Chamber Singers and doing some patriotic songs for us and music for us as well.
That's awesome.
So we're looking forward to having them back and having them to perform for us and sing for us this year. And then, of course, we've got Pastor Walter West, so we can't use his church without having him part of the program as well.
He's an amazingly nice guy, too.
He is. He definitely is. And so he immediately accepted when I asked him if he would do the invocation and the benediction this year. And he says, absolutely, be happy to do that. So he'll be on stage with us as well. So that's going to be our program for Veterans Day. As we said, it starts at 11 o'clock. The program usually runs about an hour and 15 to 20 minutes, depending, how quickly we move through it. But we are looking to fill the Christian Life Center, the CLC, which holds 1,250 people, and we are looking to fill it again this year, which we do every year. So it's going to be a big program for us, and we finish it 1 year, and as soon as we finish that, we start working then on Memorial Day, and as soon as we finish that, we start right back into the planning for Veterans Day again this year. So we're looking forward to this year's program, and then taking a bit of a respite, and then going back right after the first year and start planning for Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things that you're involved in, Veterans Village, which would not be here without your efforts legislatively. You and I both sit on the board at Home Again St. John's. Honored to have you on that board. But we were able to get a state grant by the Old Town Inn over on the island, and now we're housing around 19 veterans on a regular basis. Where a year ago we had 0 homeless that were housed, and the Veterans Council was having to pay out of pocket for rooms for vets, and it was hotel rooms, and it was kind of hit miss what was available. Now we have them all in one location. We've got some of them in different programs that are necessary and providing services and housing for them. So I just want to thank you for all your efforts on the veterans' behalf and helping Home Again get that done.
Well, Mike, that the Veterans Village has been just such a great opportunity for us, and I'm so pleased that we finally have a place now that we can house veterans. And you're right. The Veterans Council had been pursuing this for about 3 or 4 years to try to find a place that would be suitable that we could put veterans in, because we were having to put them up in motels. Mm-hmm. So many of these veterans sleeping in cars, couch surfing, sleeping in someone's garage on an air mattress, that sort of thing. And then when I would get those calls all the time from the sheriff's department or the police department downtown and saying, "Hey, Bill, I've got a person here who says he's a veteran. He's sleeping on a park bench or he's sleeping in the back of his car, and he can't do that. We got to move him out from where he's at, and can you help him?" And I would go and meet with that veteran, and the only opportunity, the only place we could put them was in a motel. Mm-hmm. And you know what motel costs are like in St. Augustine. I mean, This is a destination city for tourists. Mm-hmm. And so motels are very, very expensive here. And you don't get any break on the cost of it either. It's Monday and Tuesday, it's one price, and Wednesday is another price, and the weekend is another price.
And Nights of Lights is even a higher price.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the Nights of Lights was the most difficult time for us because it usually was nothing available. Yeah. So it was a very expensive process for us to pay for a veteran to put them up in a motel here in St. Augustine. There's only a couple of motels that give you a weekly rate. Mm-hmm. And those are reasonably priced, but there's only a couple of them to do that. And if they're filled, then that's not an opportunity available to us either. Yeah. So we were lucky, and we were so fortunate that we joined forces and came up with the motel that we purchased. And it's as you know, it's working out very well for us and for our veterans. And we have just been notified in the last week or 10 days that by one of our community partners, FPL, that they have selected Veterans Village to do their holiday lighting program this year. Very cool. And we're just excited about that. And so I've met with them. I did a Zoom call with them last week, and we haven't selected a date yet, but it's going to be the week of December the 9th. Mm-hmm. Probably will be a Tuesday, Wednesday of that week, but we haven't selected the date yet. But they're going to do the holiday lighting for us, and they also are going to put up a large Christmas tree out front.
Very cool.
And light that as well for us. And then after the holidays are over, they will either leave the lights in place for us, or if we want the lights removed, they'll come back and take the lights down and store them at our place so we can have them every year to use them. Or turn the switch off and we can turn the switch back on next next holiday. So, but in addition, they also notified us that, and Mike, as you know, we've been working on this for some time now, trying to get our American flags, our American flagpole out front, our 3 flagpoles, and FPL notified us that they will make a nice sizable donation to that project. And so with the amount that they are donating, and with another donation, another sponsor who had made a donation, we now have the money to go forward with putting our flagpoles out front.
Awesome.
So we'll have our American flag out front with the POWMIA flag on that flagpole. We'll have the state flag on one of the other flagpoles, and then our logo flag on the other. And then the Marine Corps League, a local veterans organization, is going to sponsor the service branch flags as well. So those will go on the columns on the building itself. So we're looking forward to having our flags in place very, very soon now.
Yes. And awesome. Bobby wants to know if the Air Force flag is going to be slightly above the other service flag. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
They will be in the order that they are normally placed when we have the flags displayed.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and that's been another project. I mean, you and I could do a whole show on how long it's taken to get some things done through the state over at Veterans Village. I think we took them by surprise when they said, "Hey, here's an award, your money. When are you going to have a site?" And we were able to negotiate for a hotel, which immediately got us through, no design, no develop, no construction, just immediately moved people in once we closed. And they're still trying to catch up to us.
Yeah. Well, people don't know how fortunate we are to have been able to buy a motel, a in-place facility like that, and not have to do brick and mortar.
Yeah.
That was just a godsend. That came available to us, and thanks to Troy and thanks to yourself.
Well, I got to give Troy Blevins all the credit on that idea. I'd love to tell you it was mine, but that was Troy Blevins called me up one day, and I'm like, every once in a while you redeem yourself. Every once in a while.
Well, he did on this one,
yes,
because it has absolutely been just a remarkable find for us to be able to just buy that, and it was available to us to start putting veterans in almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just a tremendous find.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I know usually you'd stay the whole hour, but you have got to get back to your wife.
Well, my wife and I do Monday night Bible class.
Yes.
At Anastasia Church. So I dropped her off just before I came here. I said, I will be back by 5:30. And, if you're going to go to a Bible class, you can't start off by lying.
No,
I
you
gotta get back.
gotta
I gotta
So one last time, Veterans Day at what time, what location?
Okay, it's going to be at Anastasia Baptist Church. That's at 1650 A1A South. It starts at 11 o'clock, but the doors will open that morning at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And the doors to the CLC will open at 10 o'clock. We do have on the large jumbotrons in there, we've got a lot of military film that's going to be played and showing, and we'll be looping for about an hour and a half on the jumbotrons in there. So you can see a lot of the action films and so forth as well. If you just want to come in, just sit down and look at those, you can do that as well.
Very cool.
And then the program itself starts at 11 o'clock.
And Bill, thank you for being in today, for fitting this in your schedule. God bless you for everything you're doing. Thank you not just for your service in the military, but your service to veterans. You are an amazing attribute and that St. Johns County.
Well, thanks.
We're lucky to have you.
Thanks for having me back, and thanks for allowing me to come in and talk about our Veterans Day program this year, and the use of your show here to get the word out to our audience and to our community. We really appreciate that.
If you leave the flyer, we'll keep announcing it until then.
Happy to do that.
All right.
Happy to do that.
Because I'm too old to remember that. Amanda probably remembers everything you said, but if you leave that for me, it will help.
And this is the program itself. That will be what will be handed out to everyone when they come that day.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right.
thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good
take
luck
care.
with the bridge.
Oh, the
right.
bridge. A boat hit the bridge today.
A boat hit the bridge. See,
Yes.
I segued right into something
Right
you
into a
wanted
story.
to talk about, Miss Halloween, Great Pumpkin.
No, I'm the Great Pumpkin.
Yes, you are.
Y'all should see my Halloween leggings. I'm sorry. I am not dressed accordingly. We're Bill Dudley.
No,
Good
You
night.
don't want to see her Halloween leggings. No, we're not showing those.
No. So the now Trinidad, which calls St. Augustine home for one of its home ports, and it was waiting for the bridge to go up, and the engine died and it drifted into the bridge.
Yeah.
And they had to tow it to a barge.
Well, I think both bridges just want a boat leaning up against them because there's still a sailboat leaning up against the north side on the east end of the 312 bridge.
Yeah, and we talked to Troy about that. They have to go through this whole process to try and find the owners before they can do anything about it. That's why it's still there.
It's still there. I rode by in the morning because I'm like, whoa, what is that? And then I remember, oh yeah, there's still a, yes.
There's the boat.
Well, here's the funny thing. I've been running Rumble and Facebook at the same time, and now Rumble has locked.
Yeah?
And so it's kind I'm
no.
going to refresh Rumble, but
So I think the internet's a little wonky today. So sorry.
Anyway, I think we look better on Rumble though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
I'd
you know.
have to shift over there for a little more freedom. Take that, Facebook.
I've tried a couple of different platforms for live streams. Facebook has the worst sound.
I don't doubt that.
That it has like a buzz in Facebook sound. It happens at our church too. So Rumble.
We're making some moves. We're making some moves.
We're there. We're
so
live.
You guys just need to go. You can comment there. We can comment back.
Yep.
Just start trying it. Just go over to Rumble. Look up the Mike Davis Show. It took me 2 seconds to find. If I can find it, anybody can find it.
And it's a Florida company.
Yes. Yes.
They've invited us to hang out in their studio, which I think is really cool.
They invited us or they invited Pete?
They invited us because we're the show on the network that are on Rumble.
Really? They want us?
They
When was I gonna get the invite?
They told Pete that we're invited.
When was I going to get the invite?
Pete,
If there's someone in this studio and this whole network that gets the last invite, he's wearing a green shirt today.
because of Miami. Pete told us about the invite at the same time. I'm just the one that reads the text.
We got a text?
Your life might be so
Pete
exciting.
has a phone? When did his mom buy him a phone?
Susan's watching.
I know she
She'll
is.
tell you.
Susan, please tell me you're not still paying for that phone.
Man, you're in trouble today.
I know. I'm just digging a deep hole today.
Of
I'm
course
just
you
digging a deep, deep,
Speaking
deep
of
hole.
deep holes, how was your football Saturday?
I got crushed. I knew we were going to get crushed. I knew it wasn't going to be good. I think I am going to try to take Troy on the New York bet. I know that's another just a stretch bet. It's probably never going to happen, but I might take him.
Madison Square Garden had 150,000 people waiting to get in it.
Mm-hmm. I heard 75, but if that was the New York Times count, it was probably closer to 200.
Yeah,
If that was Trump's count, it was probably closer to 74.
I was listening to a couple of different videos on my way here from homeschool community.
Mm-hmm.
And 150,000 was what I heard, but who knows?
I'm just going to go, a lot of people.
Lots and
lots of people. So,
yes.
Mike,
Or
I look
as
better
the
in
Times
purple.
would say, dozens.
Barbara Jean, I'm
Dozens showed up.
sorry about the Vikings. I have been rooting for them. I've been doing it quietly as not to jinx them, but I am sorry about them this weekend. I think the first loss, I think, of the season.
I think so.
Yeah.
They've been hot.
The NFC North is every team is above 500 and every team is playing great.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Packers. And of course, if you're a Jags fan, when you saw Jordan Love go down, the quarterback for the Packers, you knew we were going to lose because the Jaguars franchise has made backup quarterbacks look historic. And then this backup will leave and go get another contract and never complete another pass. But against the Jaguars, awesome. My son and I were talking about it. Blaine Gabbert, who was a pick of the Jaguars, ends up in Tennessee. Marcus Mariota, a really good QB at the time, goes down, and Blaine Gabbert has his career day throwing against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
That's just the way we are. We're just good.
That might have been some comeuppance.
Yes, and the Eagles are doing pretty good, too.
Yeah.
The Lions threw 50-some points on a team yesterday. 50-some points.
50-some?
50-some. It was 50-something to not that much. It's tough.
These are some amazing football stats.
Well, I looked at this. I gotta honestly tell you, I since the Jaguars are out of it and the Knowles are out of it.
Yeah.
This is like my first year since I was 7.
That I'm following it more than you?
I'm just really not following.
Yeah.
It's just not there. And then you have the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series. And although both the first 2 games have been very interesting games, I'm not a fan of those 2 franchises. Yeah. Although the former Brave, Freddie Freeman, hit a 10th inning home run in game 1 in LA.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Well, somebody threw a stat up. I'm not sure it's 100% true, but apparently in 1988, and I remember watching the game, you were just a toddler.
I was 7.
Toddler. And they put in Gibson with a bum knee against the A's, and they pitched to him. Franks this home run. Yeah. He could barely get around the bases, but he hits this home run. And it's supposedly like 8:32 p.m. Freddie Freeman hit his home run 36 years later.
Yeah.
At 8:32 p.m.
That's wild.
That's the stat that I saw. I'm not sure it's true, but that's the stat. Yes. And I did send you a really cool video about Clemson.
Okay. Is that the show prep video that I didn't get a chance to watch?
Yes, it was show prep. It was on Instagram. We can talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
It was heartfelt. A really cool thing that the Clemson students did, and we should give them some credit for it tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll let you do more research because it's
okay.
Clemson.
I'll look at it.
Yes, it's hard for me to say Clemson did something amazing and great, but the students did something amazing.
Dude, Clay would never say it. Clay hates Clemson.
Why?
He's a Bama fan, and he and his
get over
dad
it.
were at the national championships that Clemson won in the last seconds.
In Tampa.
They were there.
Yeah, they were. Well, yeah.
And Clay is very bitter. He doesn't let me talk about Clemson at all.
I have in-laws that told me
Angry.
after the game, oh, yeah, we could have gotten you tickets. Which meant, yes, we had tickets. We just forgot to call you.
Nice.
Yes. I'm not a Clemson fan. I'm not a Bama fan. But, oh, what a game to have been.
So I just had a conversation like that. My daughter went to the big concert on Thursday, and everyone was trying to get like pit tickets and passes from Troy, and Troy's like, I'm not even there. And Rick was like, might as well ask you for Taylor Swift tickets. He's like, I can get you Taylor Swift tickets, but I can't get these Benson Boone tickets. And I was like, oh, no, you can't. Because Taylor Swift just played in Miami, and you told me you couldn't get tickets for me and my daughter. No, you can't get Taylor Swift tickets.
That's just him.
Don't you tell me you can get Taylor Swift tickets.
No, that's just him projecting. Gaslighting, I think, is what the children call it today.
Yoy.
He was gaslighting.
Let me down.
Yeah.
It's almost over. And I haven't been able to get tickets for my daughter. Sad story.
Are you trying to find the stat of when he hit the home run?
I was trying to confirm. There's a fun fact stat, so it might be that.
All right.
We'll see.
Also, today I voted.
You voted? Is that your sticker?
The sticker. I have it here.
Did you vote for Jill Stein?
No, I actually decided that everyone that this thing was going to the party dressed in either red or blue. I wore green.
You wore green?
I wore green. Just to be different, and so no one would know who I was voting.
I'm going to wear purple for Barbara Jean and just to make everyone mad.
Yes. So you're voting for the purple party.
Purple party.
Yeah, I don't even know what they do.
Why not?
No, it was, the line was out the door at the supervisor of elections office.
Yeah.
The worker there said it was brisk and that there were a lot of people that were there. I'm trying to get the turnout
Someone
right now
posted
for
the
you.
turnout.
42.13%, 96,885, and there's still time to go today.
Yeah.
Is the official voter turnout out of
wild.
229,967 active eligible voters, according to the website. And today's total, when I look at it by date and type,
42% already.
Wow. There's 10,600, which puts us back on our path. Saturday was only 8,800 and a little less than 6,000 on Sunday. Sunday was the slow day. So that's kind of interesting that everybody's voting during the week.
Yeah.
Right? What was the point of doing early voting? We were told by advocates for early voting is that you needed to be able to vote on the weekend. And when you look at the stats here, the weekends are the two least days that are being utilized.
Yeah.
You had 13,000, maybe close to 14, really about 14,000 people and some change that voted on Saturday and Sunday, but you're getting on average 10 to 11,000 people a day during the week. Yeah. And I think today's numbers will be even more than the 10,648 because we have an hour and 20 minutes to go.
Even more.
I think it's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yes. Andy says the Southeast Library was brisk. Andy, were you returning your coloring books?
I don't think they loan coloring books.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
just kidding.
Do they loan coloring books?
No, they don't. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I feel like that's a single-use item.
No, it probably is. But no, so I would tell you to go vote. Have you voted yet?
I haven't. I have to this week, but I can't tomorrow. I have a field trip tomorrow.
Okay. So the pumpkin patch?
No, to a museum. I have to
About pumpkins?
I have to take a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds to an art museum and try and keep them from giggling at the naked people.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Speaking of that, since you took us to another kind of topic, we're not going to play it. I'm just going to describe it.
Oh, my word, the Democrat ad.
In the best tones I can. This is a Democrat ad.
Oh.
So apparently they are trying to figure out how to get in touch. When you hear what this ad is about, you'll understand that pun. To get in touch with young male voters. I thought that was so good.
That's good.
I thought that was awesome.
I have a different story to tell you.
Since Amanda knows what this is about.
Oh.
So there is an ad out where a young man is watching pornography on his phone and pleasing himself.
And you can hear it.
And you can hear the porn, and you can hear him.
You can hear so much.
It reminds me a little bit of the Saturday Night Live skit with the bees, and they were buzzing. You don't even remember. You'd have to go back and watch John Belushi and them. They're all bees. And
oh, wait, I remember that skit.
Yes. So it reminded me a little bit of that to start. And then all of a sudden, a guy that looks like the library person from Seinfeld.
He looks like Tim Walz.
He looks a little bit.
Looks like Tim
Not going to lie, a little bit.
With a different haircut.
But he looks like the library guy from Seinfeld. Who was after Seinfeld about the library book. Oh, he was the library inspector, and he'd been tracking Seinfeld.
The investigator.
He'd been tracking him down. Listen, Mr. Goodtime. So it looks like that guy comes in, and then...
Listen, Mr. Goodtime.
Yes! I know, I'm just on fire today.
All the puns.
Yes, if you guys had watched this video.
Send me a message, and I'll send you the link. I'm not putting it in the comments.
We're not putting it in the comments. We're not doing that. We find it that inappropriate. But anyway, this guy tells him, oh, no, we're the Republicans. We won. And we're stopping pornography across the country.
Stopping all of that.
And you're not allowed to finish.
I'm going to sit here and watch you to make sure you don't
finish.
Yes, to make sure
you don't, right? And so, Barbara Jean, I don't write the stripper stories. I just report them. So it's not really a stripper story. It's bad. But the fact that somebody thought that this was a way to reach young men is disgusting on about 8 million levels.
So disgusting.
Yeah, way too touchy-feely for me. It's 3. I got 3
good
ones in.
it.
I got 3 good ones in. I did.
Are you making yourself happy?
Well, considering I didn't plan any of this and it's just rolling, feels pretty good.
All right. Self-gratification is the theme.
So he said before the Republicans stepped in the room.
Oh, man.
There's just so much to work with that. If Troy and I were here together, we'd probably both be lying on the floor laughing hysterically.
No, you would have that conversation before air, and then you would get me all in that headspace, and then I would be the one to say the inappropriate stuff and get in trouble, and you guys would be like, who brought her?
I just can't believe they made the ad. I can't believe someone's paying. It's like a $2.5 million ad buy.
It's so cheesy, too.
Do you know what good you could do with $2.5 million? And you did that crap.
And it's, okay, so it's wrong.
I almost said you blew it on that, but I just that.
Blew your wad on that stupid ad.
You blew it on that, Democrats. Ugh. I can't figure out why you're losing.
Speaking of blowing, so Kamala Harris is on a Club Shay Shay podcast.
Okay.
And there's some...
Is it on the 904 now?
No.
Then I don't watch.
So instead of doing the Joe Rogan experience, she stopped replying. Her people stopped replying to Joe Rogan's people. And they didn't even say no. They just ghosted him. Yeah. And she is on the Shannon, the Shay Shay Club podcast, which is tiny. And people are reporting like, oh, this is her answer to Trump's JRE experience. Like, no, it's not. I mean, it's a fraction of the audience. But Shannon, is it Shannon Smith?
That's like saying I sang the national anthem at the World Series or the Super Bowl, right? I sang it there versus I sang it at
Shannon Sharp
at a Little League game.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry. I mean, they're both great that you have the national anthem song, but one of them has a much wider.
Yeah. He just had a controversy recently that I heard alluded to, and it's not great. So like, why would she pick him?
Because the questions were prearranged.
Yes.
They were predetermined. They were given to her, so she knew what the answers were. She probably was able to be coached through them, and more than likely they taped it, cut it, edited it, and put out the best version of it. And Amanda, I just answered your question.
You did.
Yes.
He accidentally went live on Instagram while engaging in sexual relations.
He did.
That's
not an accident. You do that on purpose.
That was a little over a month and a half ago. And after going live on Instagram, engaging in coitus, he landed himself the vice president for a podcast interview.
Awesome.
That's quite the recommendation. Evidently, she
And
liked what she saw.
And which group is worried about them? So 20 million views, more than 20 million views is what I'm seeing.
For Joe Rogan?
For the Joe Rogan.
What?
There's a line here that has 20 million and it's above the view. It's more than that.
It's more than that.
Because there's 20 million was the spike.
Yeah. Is that concurrent viewers?
On 1027. I don't know, but there's a whole lot of other viewers. Somebody had told me the total count was like 300 million. I'm like, no, it's not that
there are
number.
different platforms.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at the different platforms and you have to determine what you believe. So
over 26 million times on YouTube within the first 24 hours of being released.
Yeah.
Neither Apple nor Spotify released listening data, but the Trump's episode was clearly very popular with 33.5 million views and counting on YouTube as of Monday morning. So the person that told me 330 million had one too many zeros in there.
Yeah.
33 million views.
33 million?
You don't get, CBS News doesn't get 33 million views in 6 months.
So what I heard was it was the top 3 podcast on Joe Rogan's channel right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 35 million views 2 days in. The 2 that are ahead of his are years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it took them years to get the views. We're at 35 million views in 2 days.
Okay. Did Joe endorse? I believe Joe has.
He has not endorsed.
Not said anything.
He has
Thank
not
you
endorsed.
for correcting me.
Yeah. So did you watch the interview?
I watched bits and pieces of it. I do want to go back and watch the whole thing, but 3 hours. The last time I devoted 3 hours of my life listening to somebody, the person I was listening to was Rush Limbaugh.
Well, it clearly
Sorry,
was
Darcy.
not. That's rude.
She's not listening. She's in a meeting. I'm good. I'm covered.
I can talk trash. It wasn't. So I wanted the Trump that was at McDonald's in there, joking around and just like shooting the shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Trump that I wanted on Joe Rogan. But that's not the Trump that we got. We got a more, business, conversational Trump. He got more loose when they talked about fighting, when they talked about sports. He got a little more loose. But he was...
Didn't he say he wanted to be a whale psychiatrist?
They were talking about...
That
so
wasn't
he did.
Funny. Yes.
He did, but it was a joke, and they're taking it like that's his next career. Like, no, it's so dumb. So they were just talking about the negative ramifications of wind energy and how expensive it is and how many animals it impacts. And he made this offhanded, I want to be a whale psychologist because so many, or psychiatrist, because so many of them are experiencing negative impacts that are being questioned by wind power advocates, was basically what he was saying. Like, I want to be able to like communicate with them to figure out if it really is wind that's causing all these issues. And people are taking it as if he was like, oh, well, if I lose the election, I'm going to be a whale psychologist. So
you wanted a lighter, cheerier Trump. He went on an audience with 33 million people. And I think he said, you know what, I need to be more serious in this.
Yeah, he was more buttoned up.
But I do think he's been a lot more.
I think he did a good job on the interview. Just someone who's watched him in interviews. I wanted the McDonald's version of him.
Yeah. I love the McDonald's version of him. Yeah. But I think that was, I think in his mind, hey, this is a fun kind of thing, and we're going to have fun with it and not be so serious. But, I think it's hard for politicians to turn that on and off. Trump, more so than any of them, because he's not a politician. Harris has no ability to turn it on. She's got no on there. It's just an off switch. Yeah. I don't know if you watched the speech she was giving last week somewhere in Michigan, and the teleprompter went out.
Yeah.
That
she just
she just kept repeating the last sentence, like, okay, any second now the thing's going to roll again. If I was her staff and she made me mad, I would so Ron Burgundy her. I would so put something in there and she would just read it.
Oh, my
word. She would so Ron. Hey, America, go
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Uh-huh.
She was speaking at a church, and I watched it. Again, it's a clip, so I don't know the whole context of it, and it could be taken out of context because it's on the internet. But it was a clip of her trying to finish a speech, and they started playing the music, like, "Hey, we're giving you the hook.
Yeah.
You're done." So I don't know how bad it was. And then another speech, I heard she only was on the stage for 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's not long.
No.
Well, there was another one, I think the one in Michigan, and she gets this big introduction from Barack Obama, and there's all this energy, and the walk-on music never played. And so she just doesn't come out forever because the music doesn't start. And then she finally got the message that,
hey, you got to go.
You got to go because the music's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so she goes out. It's so awkward. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but she just doesn't know how to roll with it.
No.
And so it's just so weird.
No.
Ugh.
I have another one for you, and this may or may not come up on Thursday, so you should pay attention. Lawrence O'Donnell, a Trump hater extraordinaire, does not like Donald Trump, is not a fan of Donald Trump. Apparently, he had a segment on his show about helping a nonprofit bring desks to schools in Africa so that people would not have, the children that were attending school would not have to sit on the floor. They could sit in a desk to be able to learn. And so apparently this is one of his causes. So to Lawrence's credit, and I am not in any way ever going to say, I think based on the stuff he has said about Donald Trump, he is a nice person. I just can't. But I agree with his foundation, and I absolutely positively agree with what he did in the show where he said he got a letter from Donald Trump. He opens it up, and inside the letter is a $10,000 check from Donald Trump that says, great work that you're doing with this foundation.
Yeah.
And sends him a check. Now, O'Donnell didn't have to say that Trump did it. So I give O'Donnell full credit
because
for manning up and thanking Trump publicly, someone who he has just flat out gone after with just, in my opinion, reckless abandon with things that are not true. And then Donald Trump, who's supposed to be this evil, evil person, writes him a check for $10,000 for his charity so that he can help people. So, that's the Trump that you don't see. They don't want you to see. So I give O'Donnell credit for bringing that up and doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many stories about good things that Trump would do that used to get reported when he was just the guy on The Apprentice or just the guy that has the golden toilet and his name's in gold everywhere. You would hear about the good things that he does. I don't know if you remember the story about the vet who was driving somewhere in South California. He missed the turnoff and ended up going through an area that funnels you into Mexico. And there's just no turnaround. You have to go into Mexico. He didn't have his passport. And he lets them know, look, I made a mistake. I didn't turn where I was supposed to. I had no intention of coming into Mexico. They arrest him.
Yep.
And this was when Obama was president. They arrest him. They hold him for, I don't even remember how long, but it was way too long. Long enough that people started making pleas publicly on the media to Obama to intervene that this vet would get released. And Obama never did it, but Trump did. Trump got him out. And he had no skin in the game at that point. He wasn't running for office. It was just there was this dude trapped in Mexico who was a vet.
Yep.
Made a complete mistake, and they were charging him for illegal border crossing.
I remember that. Meanwhile, they're sending millions across our border.
Yeah.
Could we arrest the guards for letting them illegal border charge?
I don't know if you remember Jennifer Hudson, her family, they experienced tragedy in Jennifer Hudson's family. She's an actress and a singer. And people in her family were I think it was a home invasion, and they were horrifically murdered, and it was tragic. And Donald Trump gave them the floor at Trump Tower so that they could be protected from the press and they could do what they needed to do and they could mourn their families without having the press because they had the ability to lock down Trump Tower. I mean, it's just, we used to hear about those stories and it's something that he does do.
he does a lot of stuff. One of the
But now we just don't hear about it ever.
St. Joe young man, I won't mention his name, made it to the golf team at the Naval Academy. The cadets were all playing, or at West Point. I can't remember which one. It was one of the service academies, so forgive me for that. But they were playing golf at Mar-a-Lago. Trump found out about it, went and had a picture with the whole team.
That's awesome.
He found out that it was a service academy playing there, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to be at these kids and get a picture with them. And it was when he was president of the United States. He had lots of other things to do.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yes. All right. We are quickly running out of time.
We are.
We are going to talk about this one story I found later in the week. We'll probably talk a little bit maybe with Davey tomorrow. But right now, Democrats are trying to figure out why young men are leaving the Democratic Party.
I can't imagine why.
I can't either. You've castigated them. You've ridiculed them. You've told them they're not important. They don't count. And that they are the fault of all the problems that are out there in the world. So I don't know why they're leaving you. But here's a sentence out of this this article. It's in the New Yorker by J. Caspin King. And I've never read I don't think I've ever read an article by him. Doesn't mean anything, just the first one. But this one sentence just kind of got me, and it made me want to go read the rest of the article. I imagine the young disaffected men will ultimately become the focus of a lot of bewilderment and hand-wringing. Okay, there's a lot right there. For the very simple reason that the children are our future and nothing is scarier than angry dudes. So first Democrat I've ever heard say the children are our future. And you can think about that and ponder that. And we won't go into in depth in it, but.
Which children?
Yeah, just very interesting to me. The fact that all of a sudden, and I laugh at this because you were too young to remember this. If you do remember it, you have a brilliant memory. But after Bill Clinton won, there was this whole thing that Rush Limbaugh was talking to just angry white dudes.
Yes.
He wasn't talking to women. He wasn't talking to older people. Just angry white dudes who were mad that somebody else got their job. That wasn't what Rush was.
No.
That was not it at all. That's what the media tried to portray him as. And so they had this whole kind of 2 or 3 years of, oh, you're just an angry white dude. Yeah. Well, they've now just turned that on the younger ones because the older white dudes like me that are Generation X.
Like, yeah, we are.
We don't give a shit what you say. We were around before all of this social media stuff existed, and we survived. Yep. We survived without a phone. We survived without our parents knowing exactly where we were every minute of every day, and we still made it home at the end of the day with injuries. As a comedian said, when you went to school in Gen X, it looked like a VA clinic. Everybody had a broken bone. Everybody had crutches. That's just the way school was back then.
Yeah.
Probably nobody injured today.
Someone made the observation that you don't see kids in casts anymore. And you really don't.
Not like when we were growing up.
No.
Not like when we were growing up. And as he said, it was kind of a learning experience for you because you're like, how'd you do that? Oh, I was doing this. Good to know. I won't do that. Right? That's how you learned how not to do stupid stuff because you'd ask your friends, how did you get the cast? And they would tell you.
Well, the irony is, so we don't see little kids in casts anymore. But now we were talking about it with Bill Dudley. Now we see such a higher incidence of new recruits in the military not making it out of basic without stress fractures. And we played harder. I mean, I think my generation or my half of my generation were the last group of kids to really play rough and tumble outside. We'd climb trees just to jump out of them.
Yep.
And that increases your bone density. And yes, you break a bone on occasion, but those heal. And then you're bigger, tougher, stronger. What we're going to have so I'm getting to the age where you have to start worrying about osteoporosis, like that my doctors are just starting to talk about that because I'm getting close to that menopause thing. I can't imagine what that conversation is going to be like for my daughters and their friends.
How old are you? Roughly, give or take?
I'm 43.
Okay, I have injuries older than you.
Yeah.
I have injuries older than you.
Of course you do, Gen X. I drank out of a hose. I jumped out of trees.
Yes.
I rode my bike and got that metal thing flipping into your shins. I did that. I was just barely not Gen X. So all the cool kids I wanted to hang out with were Gen X, and so I was always following them and doing stupid stuff just so they would let me hang out.
Without our parents knowing.
Yes.
And then we didn't tell them. We didn't come home. We didn't make a video of it. We didn't try to become an influencer.
The street lights would start to come on and you'd have the conversation. We're not talking about this, right? We're good. We're not telling mom, right? Yes. And then you have dinner.
So I went to a friend's house to spend the night, and I got caught up in a neighborhood football game in his neighborhood. I didn't know any of the kids. They didn't know me. So there's immediately this disdain for the new kid, right? Yeah. So we're playing football in the street. It's a paved street with a concrete gutter. Right on the
Sounds
side.
like a great plan.
So
tackle football?
No, I think it was two-hand touch, which still ended up mostly tackle.
Two-hand touch means you're just
pretty
getting
much,
pushed down.
Yeah, pretty much tackle. But anyway, so about halfway through the game, I dive for a ball.
Of course you do.
And all of a sudden, I'm welcome in their club.
Yeah.
This kid is dumb enough, just like us, to play football in the street and dive for a ball. He's cool. But you had to do that to be cool.
Yeah.
You didn't do that kind of stuff. You're like, no, he's not.
He didn't
dive for a ball. That's right. What was that? We were at the Recovery RX fundraiser, and their slogan, "My scars are my armor,"
yeah.
which is really cool. Yep, really, really cool. And that was a fun event on
Thursday.
Was that Thursday? My God, last week was...
It's been a long month since last week.
Yeah, it's been a long month since last week. I know, and I didn't even have kids at home. All right, tomorrow night, Davey is in here.
Yes.
We have a whole cast of characters. How many kids are coming in? 17, 18?
78.
78 kids.
Yeah.
78 kids will be in the studio.
Give or take.
Pete Melfi said it couldn't be done. Watch us try. And we'll also be doing movie night Casablanca. If you have not watched recently, watch again because it's really, really going to be good.
Yep.
All right. See you
Bye, guys.